There's a PubMed article published in 2020 titled Carbon Dots as Nanotherapeutics for Biomedical Applications. According to this medical journal, carbon nanodots are less than 10 nanometers in size. To put that size into perspective, human hair is 80,000 to 100,000 nanometers wide. Due to its many desirable traits, they have an intrinsic photoluminescence to facilitate bioimaging, biosensing, and theranostics. Carbon dots are also ideal for targeted drug delivery. It says this may be ideal for effective chemo, gene, and antibiotic therapy. They state carbon dots have significantly enhanced drug delivery and exhibit much promise for future biomedical applications. Again, this was published in 2020. So the intrinsic photoluminescence, which means light emission, facilitates bioimaging, biosensing, and theranostics. Bioimaging is a non-invasive process of visualizing biological activity. Biosensing is detection of target molecules based on the principles used by a living system, such as an immune system. The definition of theranostics is defined to be the combination of diagnostics and therapeutics. An example is radioactive iodine tracers for thyroid cancer. Another explanation which popped up on Google is theranostics uses special compounds called radiotracers, which are injected into the bloodstream. Like using a GPS, the radiotracers travel through the body to target and bind to specific cancer cells, which are then visible on a PET scan. Another article is in Science Direct, which discusses carbon dots. This one says carbon dots are surface functionalized and minuscule in size with controlled fluorescence, high environmental sensitivity, and a range of remarkable photochemical properties. So the fluorescence looks something like this, and this article is actually from a food safety website. Microbiologics has announced expansion of its UV biotag line of microbial control strains containing green fluorescent protein markers. This is designed for the food microbiology testing. If you go directly to the company's website, you'll see it's the same picture. It says the next phenomenon, QC microorganisms with green fluorescent protein markers. Food safety is part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Carbon dots have a promising future in fluorescence detection of contaminants due to their significant properties. Carbon dot sensors have capacity in the food sensing sector, since food samples include a variety of components that might create interferences. More innovative approaches to bind with CDs, that's the carbon dots, are necessary to develop specific sensing probes. Graphene quantum dots are nano-sized chunks of monolayer graphene, may be regarded as a particular subtype of CDs, that's what they call the carbon dots, because despite their two-dimensional architecture, they exhibit extremely similar photophysics. The CDs can produce red, green, or blue light, and their fluorescence can be either wavelength independent or tunable, that the emission peak varies with the excitation wavelength. Their fluorescence intensity can be influenced by a single ion in solution or by a series of interactions with other systems like carbon nanotubes. Numerous types of CDs exist. The GQD, or graphene quantum dot, possesses a single or multiple graphene layers with chemical groups attached to boundaries. This type has an average lattice parameter of 0.24 nanometers. A honeycomb lattice is a hexagonal lattice with a basis of 2 ions in each unit. A hexagon has 6 sides.
Behold, he standeth behind our wall. He looketh forth at the windows, showing himself through the lattice. My beloved spake, and said unto me, Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away.
This medical journal article from 2013 appears to address the same thing. Functional surface engineering of CDOTs for fluorescent biosensing and in vivo bioimaging. 11 years ago, they said nanoparticles are promising scaffolds for applications such as imaging, chemical sensors and biosensors, diagnostics, and drug delivery, among a few others, including energy, medicine, and more. This journal concludes with saying, with each application, CDOT should open new horizons of multiplexed quantitative detection, high-resolution fluorescence imaging, and long-term real-time monitoring of their target. This one is a PubMed article from 2020, Endogenous Fluorescence Carbon Dots Derived from Food Items. Endogenous is having an internal cause or origin. This one is published by PubMed and it's from 2020. In the middle of this paragraph, it says, therefore, the potential health risk of nanoparticles in food has drawn massive attention. Skipping down to the last sentence, investigation of the properties of food-borne fluorescent CDs and their potential health risks to humans is of great significance. In 2015, carbon dots were found in certain types of beverages such as Voss, Pony Malta, Pilsner beer, Vivint Storm, and Prophet. The last portion in this section mentions the potential threat to human health. Some of the carbon dots occur naturally, and some of them are brought about by heating of the food. They've been discovered in various types of food such as roasted duck, mature vinegar, lamb chops, honey, pike, eel, salmon, canned yellow croaker, beer, bread, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Voss, coffee, grilled hamburger, pizza, caramels, and barbecue. You can see the effects that the carbon dots had on chicken after it was heated. The cell viability decreased to 15 to 33% after treatment with the carbon dots. An investigation of CDs from Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola showed the distribution of CDs in the liver, heart, brain, spleen, kidneys, intestines, stomach, and lung after oral administration in the mouse model. I read, and I quote, "It was notable that the CDs could cross the blood-brain barrier." I found that part interesting because Jeremiah 17 says, I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. The word for heart is this: inner man, the soul, the heart of a man, the heart of a man. The word for reins is kidneys, a physical organ. The same is true in Revelation chapter 2. All the churches will know I am he who searches the reins and hearts and gives to every one of you according to your works. The word for reins is nephros, meaning kidneys, and the word for heart is cardia, meaning heart. So he searches the heart and the kidneys. I always found that puzzling before. The same is true in Psalm 7. Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just, for the righteous God trieth the hearts and reins. Back to the medical journals. This one reminded me of the days of Noah. Generally, the CDs in food enter the human body through eating and drinking. Like the days of Noah, they were eating and drinking. Therefore, the gastrointestinal tract is the first place that CDs interact with the body. The potential risk of CDs occurs on cells or organs after the digestion and absorption of CDs in the gastrointestinal tract. Consequently, in vivo toxicity assessment of foodborne CDs is important. Nanoparticles in food have been a hot topic since potential uncertainty on health was revealed, and considerable attention has been paid to engineered nanoparticles. However, the presence of foodborne nanoparticles is rarely reported, much less their potential toxic effects. Primary results indicate the CDs in food could induce adverse health effects and accumulate in various organs after oral administration. This raises concern about the long-term safety of the CDs that people consume daily in food. In the acknowledgement section, you see this work was supported by China. This is a picture of gut cells that are fluorescent from the carbon dots. This one was from the pizza. A Google search about the side effects of carbon dots brought up this from the NIH. The side effects have been found to cause a range of adverse effects, including respiratory disease, cardiovascular disease, neurological disease, and cancer. This audio is Klaus Schwab from the year 2022.
The future is already here. The future has begun. It's a new system. It changes us because it's a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological spheres. It's an integration of those spheres. Just think of senses planted into our brains. The opportunities are immense.
The Bible says our body is a temple. In the book of Philippians, it says their end is destruction, their God is their belly. Proverbs 23 says, "Be not among drunkards or among gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and slumber will clothe them with rags." According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the definition of gluttony is excess in eating or drinking.
For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking